Femininity in men today. What does this mean? We can easily talk about the same. I'll probably make a video about the other side of the coin, masculine and the feminine, but me being identified as a straight male, this one is just a little bit more personal for me to talk about, so we're gonna talk about this one today. So yeah, boom, let's get into it, man. Femininity inside of men. You don't have to identify as a straight man. You don't even have to. Gender orientation don't have shit to do with it. Is really just about both energies existing inside of us all. But we will kind of talk about how society and certain expectations have played a role in the shaping of gender-oriented males today. You know what I'm talking about. So boom, we're gonna get right into it and just kind of break it down to the core elements first. We're gonna talk about both energies and kind of how they exist inside all of us, and then we'll talk about how it exists inside men today and how society can kind of repress like true masculinity and what that really looks like. So straight into it, man. When we talking about masculine and feminine, we never like talking about good or bad. It's a lot of like two sides of the same coin, and a lot of it exists together. So when we say things like light or dark, dark don't mean bad, light don't mean good, positive and negative. They're directly linked with the masculine feminine energy, but a lot of people, it triggers them to think one is, you know, positive, negative, like good or bad, but it's not the case with this one, man. So the best symbol I see in culture for it is the yin yang, and the yin yang comes from Taoism. Taoism is like the ancient Chinese, not really religion. It's more like a school of thought. They believed in like one universal force, you know, that flows with the yin yang, masculine and feminine, kind of holding each other. And that's how life expresses itself, through space and the stars, you know what I'm saying? The light and the dark, you know, and how it represents itself all over Earth. Got the white side, which is your yang, your masculine, and your left side, which is your yin, your feminine, or however way you flip it. But both have a seed of the other sown into it. So you can't have one existing on its own. They always exist in balance. They balance each other out and have the seed within them to express the other side, because that is needed for life to be balanced and fully express itself. You can really, inside of yourself, you know, kind of tap into this. I tapped into this like when you meditating in a dark place, if you turn off all the lights, you know, you sit in silence in the dark, you still aware of the darkness, you know, you kind of illuminating the darkness. You're present with the darkness. You know, no lights coming in, no information is coming in, so but you're aware of it. So in those meditative states, it's kind of like you are the light, because you're expressing an experience that might be like a little bit of a trip, but is how the one exists inside of the other. You know what I'm saying? The awareness is the light at that point. When your eyes are open and you looking at the world, you looking at colors, you need the darkness in the pupil of your eye to be able to receive the light, right? You know, so now internally, has become a feminine state whenever you're receiving information in the world. A meditative state, you know, the internal, the inside is masculine, the awareness. When you're out receiving information, your internal state is feminine. You know, everybody has to do this when you go to sleep or when you awake. You know what I'm saying? If you alive, you doing this, you expressing both masculine and feminine energies. It doesn't necessarily have to just be on the surface level or like a societal representation of what masculine and feminine is or should be based on, you know, a story somebody told you or, you know, whatever the case may be. It's not really what you do and the things that are being expressed for other people to see that makes something masculine and feminine. Is like what you feel on the inside and how you choose to embody it. You know what I'm saying? A to B, A witnessing B might be witnessing B as feminine, but C witnessing B might be witnessing B as masculine, and it doesn't make either wrong. It's just how those energies are kind of expressing themselves. You know what I'm saying? And receiving, you know, because it's a give and a take. It's more about how you're expressing yourself and how you feel, how you choose to embody who you know that you are. You know, the meaning of it doesn't really come from the outside. Whenever we're talking about expressing yourself through the ego, expressing yourself in society, all these different things, masculine and feminine, can really be played with, and it can really be danced with. Like, gender orientation does not matter. Sexual preference does not matter. I feel like and I don't want to sound judgmental when I say this, but like the way a lot of these kids nowadays, the reason why they would identify with another gender other than the one that they were born into biologically is because it's literally a revolution happening inside of them. You know what I'm saying? They've already acknowledged that they aren't just one or the other. They've acknowledged that both exist inside of them, and now that they've acknowledged like this part of themselves is like them fighting to survive. You know what I'm saying? And they don't have like a meaning for this basis, like what it is, but is literally like them rebelling against society inside of themselves. And that shit to me is awesome, man. People just kind of going against societal norms and choosing to express themselves however they want to express themselves. It brings about the balance that can help heal a lot of shit caused by someone telling you who you are, you know, and that removal of self. And that'll kind of bring me right into how it affects men or straight men or a biological male, kind of regardless of how you gender yourself or your sexual orientation, right? It's kind of the norm in society, you know, for men to feel safe inside society, to kind of repress the expression of true emotion. You know what I'm saying? You gotta tell them to man up. And this is where shit gets kind of trippy. So we go back to the core elements of what masculine and feminine is, right? You can just take it to light and dark. In the light is when you express your emotions, when you get them out, either expressing them out to yourself or to your family, to your friends. But whatever the emotion is, it doesn't really matter what the emotion is. Anyone, male or female, when you're expressing your emotions and you're either letting them be known by yourself or be known by someone else, that is yang, that is masculine, because it's the expression of, right? But when the emotions are in here, they're still in that feminine nature. Do you get why that's a trip? You being told to man up, but in truth, you confiding in your own femininity. You keeping your emotions in a bud, you keeping them in the dark. So by being told to man up and push them emotions down, you actually overplaying into the feminine side of your emotions by keeping them in the dark. And that can fuck you up in one or two ways. It can fuck you up and people around you, because that can create almost like a canister of those emotions, and if the pressure builds too high, eventually it's gonna burst in some type of way. You might lash out towards yourself, towards someone who don't deserve it, someone you love, you know what I'm saying? Or something you think that does deserve it, but it's still a form of self-harm. Harming others is a form of self-harm. So it's like nobody really wins, and it still don't feel good whenever it's still not a good thing to have that bottled up in there. It's not healthy for you physically. It causes a lot of physical, like literal physical diseases and things that can happen from not having that free flow of emotions, and can fuck with your mentals and your emotions. You won't know how to identify with yourself. And the other way it can fuck you up is you see men in society kind of living a double life. The way that they're expressing out to the world is this mask is not like your true self. The way you're expressing out to the world is different than the emotions that are actually under the surface and that are feeding that expression. So you have to turn inwards in order to get any type of true sense of self, or you basically just like mirroring back society. You just mirroring back the information that you've been given. And if you can only go within to connect with self and not ever be allowed to express those parts and put those parts into the light, whether in front of other people or whether just literally expressing that truth out so you can witness it. That's how you get into a depressive state, and you can kind of get lost in the feminine energy in which you were confiding in. You feel me? And I think men now are 3.5 times more likely to commit suicide than women. And I don't know how much gender orientation plays with that, but that's a general statistic, is that male versus female genitalia, orientation, whatever, men are 3.5 times more likely to commit suicide. And that is just a direct representation of you not feeling like you can express who you really are. You know what I'm saying? You know? And we don't want to ever end shit on a positive note. Everyone can, or on a negative note, I'm sorry. Everyone can get to that balance. And that balance is such a beautiful thing, because once you find it, then you can actually start creating something new. If you are trying to manifest, you know, if you are trying to like be creative and build a life that is based in your individual truth, because we're all individuals, then you're gonna need a balance of both your masculine and feminine energies. You're gonna need the space to hold the stars, you know what I'm saying? So the stars can be birthed, you know. You gotta have the feminine, those ideas have to exist in your feminine before you can express them out into your masculine, you know. A flower has to be a seed and receive water and sunlight before it can start to grow and express itself through the soil and bloom out of its bud and express itself. You know, we all identify flowers feminine, but you can't gender a flower. It exists in both masculine and feminine. It was a seed with potential. It had to be receptive to nature in its feminine state before it could express what it was always supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? And we identify a warrior or a soldier as masculine, but a truly good warrior has to be receptive, and he has to receive information from teachers and from the battlefield, has to be receptive to what his enemy's doing in order to express and assert himself, you know, on the battlefield. You have to be successful, and no matter really what you're doing or trying to create, you do have to kind of master both, in my opinion, you know, or else you just kind of become a mirror of, you know, what you're supposed to be based on whoever told you that story, you know. So, you know, be well. I love you. All my men, take care of yourself, man. If you are like down, don't ever be afraid to like really just go get help and get them feelings out and express yourself, either to yourself or to someone you trust, or, you know, try to find therapy, try to find help if you can. But it's never healthy to really lead the double life or just dumb all that shit down, man. It's never good for you. Peace, stay up, I love you.